I feel now the best I have felt physically since I left the Royal Marines.
They say that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. So why would someone with 24 years of experience as an officer in Britain's elite Royal Marines seek out a coach to help with their training? Meet Peter Cook, maritime security consultant, university lecturer and ex-Royal Marine officer. Before we dive in, please do make sure that you hit that like button, make sure you subscribe to the channel as well, and also share it if you know anybody else who'll be inspired by Peter's story. And we've now been working consistently on your goals for how long now? When did you join the program?
18 months.
And so how's it feeling?
It's feeling great. I've been able to see myself progress in different ways. I had, as it were, a moment of epiphany about the endurance training, and I understood how that worked within a couple of months, and I found that's worked really well. And by doing everything progressively, I feel now the best I have felt physically since I left the Royal Marines. So I'm feeling stronger, I'm feeling fitter, I'm feeling as if I've got a gas tank that's full of fuel. And there are certain things that have taught me that. When I did the ski race, I was able to keep going for 2.5 hours at what we thought was my lactate threshold, give or take, with the odd push up and drop below. But effectively the average was, I think, within 2 heartbeats per minute of my lactate threshold. And to achieve that as a 60-year-old, and I know 60-year-old is the new 50 and all that kind of thing, but I'm still very happy that I'm achieving my aims, which is to improve my overall fitness, be robust, and utilize that in order to be able to take part in a wide variety of activities. And as I said in my most recent review of 2022, I've been sailing, I've been ski mountaineering, I've been downhill skiing, I've been cross-country skiing, I have been bike rafting, mountain biking, pack rafting, swimming, diving, all those things. And I have been able to transition from one to another, sometimes falling over, but that's part of it, without too many problems. And indeed, when I have either fallen off my bike or whatever, I've pretty much bounced back without any problems.
Fantastic. Out of interest, how long has it been since you left the Corps?
I left the Corps in 2005, 18
Brilliant.
years since I left the Marines.
When you said, okay, this is the fittest you felt since you left the Corps, it's not like you left the Corps and then sat on a sofa. You're a pretty active bloke and have kept yourself reasonable along that time?
Yeah, I have. I think my current weight is around about the 76 kilo mark. When I was in the Marines and I was heavier because I was slightly bigger then, I was about the 80 kilo mark. I dropped down probably to about the 77 kilo mark and then put on 2 or 3 kilos that took me back out to 80, but that wasn't muscle, that was a bit of extra weight that I was carrying. But that was largely because I was in a job where I did a lot of sitting down, I attended a lot of social functions, I travelled the world a lot. So it was very difficult for me to do anything other than that. But I got a whole load of experiences from that I don't regret at all. But what I've been able to do now is think more about the future. I've had 2 things that have always been in the back of my mind. Number 1 is being able to tell my grandchildren stories, but number 2 is be with my grandchildren as my father was with his. And so therefore it is about having a level of fitness, mobility and robustness to be able to, whether it be kick a football around or go skiing with them or whatever, for as long as I possibly can, so I can be a really good granddad, but also be a good husband, be a good dad, all those kind of great things. Because I see that in my latter years, as that is my number 1 responsibility, being able to help, support, assist, pass on wisdom, counsel, debate, question in a good way rather than a bad way. And you've got to be, I want to be fit enough both mentally and physically to be able to do these things. So I'm That's what I'm looking forward to. That's what I'm trying to do. That's what I feel I'm achieving. And for my sons to say to me, Dad, can we do this particular adventure? I say, yeah, sure. And I say, why aren't you doing it with your mates? They say, you're the only one mad enough to do something like that with us. I take that as a complete compliment, and I want to carry on so that they continue to think that way of me for as long as I possibly can. And I think, having listened to a guy in a particular television program the other week, and I'm going to grapple now for the quote, which was, you don't stop moving because you get old. You get old because you don't keep moving. And I think that sums it up perfectly. And I intend to push hard on those kind of things within the limits that I have. And it's inspired me to improve my diet, my sleeping, alcohol consumption. So it's an all-round thing. This isn't just doing push-ups and jumping on a rowing machine for half an hour. It's a lifestyle that I have used Joe's Base Camp to be the primary direction, but I'm doing all kinds of other things on the periphery.
How do you feel that the program and how the program runs and the coaching, how do you feel that has addressed all the things that you've just been talking about?
Okay, I think number one is that I joined a gym in Melbourne, great bunch of people. However, having been in the Marines for 24 years and done a number of different things, and having a slightly different style of fitness, which is about robustness and resilience rather than being able to do a particular thing. I couldn't tell you what I can bench press. I couldn't tell you what I can do on things like that. I have no interest in that. And therefore, the gym instructors I wasn't getting out of them what I wanted, because I don't think they looked upon me as, and they didn't look upon me as an oddity. That would be criticizing them, but they didn't really understand me. Didn't really understand what I wanted. And so I came to Joe's Base Camp, had a chat with you, and very quickly identified that you better understood my background. And then you linked me up with Mark, who had been in the service as well, and he completely understood what I had done, the kind of mental attitude that I had towards things. And we were able to converse initially with Mark and then with you on mutual respect and mutual understanding. And because I had that, I felt that I was really going forward, and therefore I was prepared to listen and take on board from somebody else who'd been through a similar set of experiences to me, doing the endurance training. And it didn't take long for me to say, yeah, why didn't I think of this? And then I was able to think about everything I'd done in the Marines and how we had done exactly the same stuff, but in a very different way. And I feel that I'm also at a stage of life where I want to understand the science behind it. And you've always been able to do that. I've jumped on as many Tuesday/Thursday calls as I can. I normally do one a week. And also I've had a number of one-to-one calls with you, because there are certain things I want to dig into that I think that other people wouldn't necessarily be interested in, but I don't want to hog the calls. You're happy to do the calls, as you say, within the contract, as it were, so I think, right, I'm going to make the most of it. No, I'm very happy, and I believe I'm getting real value for money, and I believe that I'm progressing and developing it in the way that I would love to, I want to be.
Before I go, if you like the content, do make sure that you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well, and also share it if you know anybody else who'll be inspired by Peter's story.